Does work get all of your energy that when you come home at the end of the day, when you finish work, you've got nothing left in the tank? Maybe you're numbing out on the couch, scrolling, or just not wanting to do anything. If this is you, then this podcast episode is for you. I was chatting with a friend the other day and she was saying that, she's quite senior in her role, in a corporate role. She's a head of a department. And she said, we're just talking about exercise and walking. And she said, I'm really sedentary. I don't get that many steps in. I said, really? And she's like, yeah, like very, very little. I said, what, 5,000? She was like, no, not even that many. And I was like, wow, okay. And she talked about how, she goes, look, my work is so busy. I get up, I go to work. And she's like, my days are high cortisol days, like super stressed, super focused, like a lot happening for her. She's got a team to manage. And she goes, I come home and I'm just exhausted. And all I do is sit on the couch, watch Netflix, or I scroll. I just scroll on my phone for hours and hours and hours. And she goes, I know it's really bad, but I just don't have the energy for anything else, right? She goes to the gym twice a week and that's it. And I said to her, that's really quite sedentary. And I think, it's going to make you more tired, but you've got to think of bone health and longevity in the long term. She's like, I know what I need to do. I don't do it. And, we talked about this and she also said, this is her weekdays, right? So Monday to Friday, she's working pretty hard. She comes home and she just wants to numb out. And then on Friday, she'll go out and she'll drink and kind of almost write herself off. Not quite, but, drink a lot. And that's her downtime, kind of social time, letting out steam. I said, that's really unnourishing. And she's like, I know, it sounds really bad when I say it. I said, look, that's an uncommon story, right? I have heard versions of this over the years so many times, okay? And I'm not pointing a finger or anything like that, because what I really want to show you is that when you're tired, it has this ripple effect. You don't nourish yourself in the ways that you normally would, like socially, relationship-wise, spiritually, whatever it is. You become so tired that you don't do anything else for your personal life, and then you become more tired, right? And then you need an outlet to just kind of relax, right? Because as she was saying, her cortisol levels are high all day. Her nervous system is on alert mode. And so come Friday, that pressure has built up, and Friday she wants to drink. She wants to chill out. She wants to relax and not have to think about anything, right? And she lets off steam that way. So again, something that's even more draining for her and is going to make her more tired. So she gets stuck in this vicious cycle and it's very hard for her to break. We talked about it and I said, like, it really isn't any fun in your schedule. It really sounds just either neutral or draining. And she's like, I know. And so I talked about, there's some really simple things that you can do. So if you resonate with parts of this story, if you feel like, okay, maybe you're not drinking on a Friday, maybe you're not numbing out on the couch, but maybe you've only got energy for work and you don't have it for your personal life. Like you're not doing socializing, you're not doing hobbies, you're not doing other activities. Maybe you're just doing the same thing. And if you're a mum and you come home and then you've got your second job starting, maybe you're doing the numbing out after the kids go to bed. That's another really common thing that I hear, is that women sit on the couch, maybe with a glass of wine, but, scrolling and watching TV while the kids are in bed and not going to bed till late. So here's some simple tips that I told my friend, is that number one, you're depleted, right? This is what depletion looks like. And it looks like, I know what I do, but I'm not doing it. Yeah, because you're tired, right? You're depleted. There's nothing there to push you and nothing simple, right? You need simple strategies to start to break some of this pattern so you have energy, like I said, for your personal life, your social life, your relationship life, your spiritual life, not just your work. So when we have low energy, we don't have the motivation to live a life after work, right? The only motivation we have is to switch off and numb out. So here's the first thing I said to her. You know what? You're not getting your steps in. You're not walking. You're not getting the body moving, which the body loves to move. It doesn't like to be sitting down. So I said the first thing that you do is get those steps in. Go for a walk and do it in the morning, okay? So I explained to her that if you did a sunrise walk, so you're doing two things here. You're walking, you're getting your steps in, but you're also getting the morning sun. Now, the morning sun is going to be really important for the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the cells or the parts of our cells that produce our energy. Now, we have trillions of these. So if you're tired, your mitochondria are impacted, okay? It's just end of story. They produce the energy. So fatigue means mitochondrial impact, mitochondrial deficiency, mitochondrial dysfunction, okay? And so one of the ways that we can start to reverse this and get the mitochondria back online, get these energy-producing cells waking up out of hibernation, is by walking and doing the sunrise walk. And that way the sunlight in the eyes will reset the circadian rhythm and also start to wake up the mitochondria, okay, and send safety signals throughout the body. The other thing that this will do, which is also really important, it will start to regulate that morning cortisol. So I can guarantee for my friend and for many people listening is that if you wake up in the morning and you pull out your phone, you're looking at your phone, oh gosh, I've got so much to do today. Okay, grab a coffee, get your day started, right? So you're already starting with alerting the nervous system, right? Waking it up with stress, with being fully alert, fully on, cortisol rises more than what it needs to. It becomes too high. And therefore you feel stressed, urgent, pressure, anxious, overwhelmed, go for the rest of the day. And that's going to be more draining for the body. So just that simple act of doing a 45-minute walk in the morning as the sun is coming up, allowing that sun to go into your eyes, no sunglasses, no glasses preferably, obviously if you need to, but having some time without them because it's very hard for the sun to penetrate. That would do so much for your energy. And I was saying to her, look, if you can do this, and she said, I can do this, right? And I said, do it in the morning. The reason why the morning is so important is because you're not going to have willpower at the end of the day to do this. And she was like, I won't do anything at the end of the day. I can tell you that now. Great. She already knows that about herself. That's a great start. So our willpower, we have more willpower in the morning and in the earlier parts of the day. By the end of the day, we've used all of our not used it all up, but it needs to replenish, right? Replenishes when we sleep. So the best time to do any new habit is in the morning. And you're going to need some willpower here. I told her this. You need to push yourself for the first 3 days to break some of your habits and to get into this routine because you're not going to have the energy yet, right? You're going to have to do it while feeling depleted. It's not going to be like, you're not going to wait for energy to come one day, right? That's not going to happen. You need to use the willpower, and that's why we have willpower, to make these changes until we can start to get more energy and build momentum from that. She was like, great, I can do that. And I said to her, what time are you waking up? And she goes, well, that's the thing, right? I go to bed late because I'm scrolling and I wake up really tired, of course. So the other thing was getting to bed earlier. So I talk about the power of 8 before 10, getting 8 hours of sleep, getting to bed before 10 p.m. Really important. So you can wake up earlier and do this, okay? Because the other thing that she said, and you might find this, your schedule is not going to change. You are busy, right? She was like, I need to make this work because nothing changes about my life. Like it's not as if I'm going to have things slow down for me. This is my schedule, right? So make it work. Get up earlier, which means you need to get to bed earlier. Just getting to bed earlier will also have this restorative effect. So you're waking up easier. You cannot wake up early when you go to bed late. I mean, you can, but you're going to be dragging yourself out of bed, feeling frustrated, being like, I don't want to do this. Your willpower is already low because you didn't replenish overnight, okay? You didn't get that proper sleep to replenish the willpower, the chemicals that produce our willpower, they didn't replenish overnight. So therefore you find it really hard to do the early morning wake up and therefore the walk. This is really simple. This is like 101 simple, okay, but really powerful because what it's going to start to do and what I explained to her is like, you're going to do this and the first couple of days, you're going to have to use your willpower to do it. And then you're going to start to feel better. And then you're going to start to build on that momentum. You're going to create more energy. The mitochondria will wake up. You'll be sleeping better. You'll have more energy during the day. And you're going to build on that. You're going to start building a life. You're going to start catching up with friends. You're going to do hobbies. You're going to do other things that nourish you on another level. You're going to increase your joy. You're going to increase your satisfaction, which will keep building more momentum and creating more energy and more, emotional energy, spiritual energy, not just physical energy, but energy on all levels that you start to build a life that you love. And when you build a life that you love, you don't have to numb yourself out over it, right? So numbing yourself out, again, no finger pointing here, no judgment. It just means that you're not happy. It just means that you're isolated. You are not meeting your needs, right? There are certain needs that our body on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level that our body needs, right? And if we're just giving it one thing, which is work and productivity and achievement in that sense, we are starved of other things, right? And so therefore, in order to avoid feeling so bad, we numb ourselves out, distract ourselves. That's very normal, right? For when you're feeling that way. But when you start building a life and building energy, or building energy and then building a life, you don't have to numb out from it anymore. You don't have to zone out in front of Netflix with wine or scroll all day. You don't have to do any of that. So let me know if that was helpful. Leave a comment below. And I mean, it's very simple, but have you noticed this about yourself, that you have energy for work, but not really for your personal life? Let me know in the comments below.